Check out that rainbow. It's cool, huh? There's usually always one over there. It's the valley. It gets a little wet over there. It's always kind of raining in that area. It's nice. There's always some kind of rainbow over here. In my social media pages, I have like tons and tons of pictures of the same thing. It's always the same thing. There's a lot of stuff that remains the same here. I like the consistency of this place, you know? It's like, it's always 85, sunny, with wind. I don't have to have a long sleeve shirt. I don't own one. If I gotta go to a wedding, I have t-shirts for that. No long pants, everything shorts. And I currently don't own any closed-toed shoes. Although I do need a new pair of combat boots because I do like wearing those. They look a bit weird with shorts, but I like it. So a couple months ago, I did this video about how I had to call my dad, just because I hadn't talked to him in a while, and I think it was around some holiday, so I had to call him. And I'm always kind of freaked out about talking to him or anyone from back there, because it's like, you know, they're in a different world than I am. You know, I don't mean here. I mean, like, as far as kind of understanding the situation we live in, you know. Some people are still very much in the matrix and think the world works the way that they were told it does, when it doesn't. It works usually opposite. I did want to get walking here, but I can't find a spot to jump out in. Fuck, a lot of people out here. What the fuck's going on? That looks cool, that rainbow. So I had to call him today because I got a Christmas card in the mail, which I thought was kind of early, but whatever. So I call him up, and it's always a little nerve-wracking because of, you know, having to have a conversation about normal stuff and keeping your power level hidden. So it's like, I call him up and I'm like, Dad, I got a card, thanks very much. And he's like, I didn't send no Christmas cards yet. And it was then that I realized, it's from last year. We have a mailbox here that every time you lose a key, it's like $100 to buy a new one. Same thing with the fobs to get in the building. And it's like, we just don't fucking, and we went through like 5 of them. So, you know, $500 later. So we just reached a point where, like, fuck it, we don't get anything in the mail. Like, we don't, anything that's coming to us snail mail is crap. You know, we don't need it. And sometimes, yeah, but the point is, we don't fucking look in there. But it had been a year since we'd been in there. Pretty funny. Anyway, I got on the phone with them. I'm talking to them real briefly about stuff, and you know, I say all the time not to try to wake anybody up or lead anyone into the try to lead people out of the matrix or whatever, and I still believe that. But the thing is with my dad, it's like, I don't know how much longer he's got here. He's had his lungs are all fucked up. He's 80 years old. It's like, and I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like if he knew something like this, he'd want to tell me. But I'm not gonna spurg and try to explain to him that, you know, everything. But what I did, right, is after I was done talking to him, I sent him a text, and I was like, yeah, I forgot to mention this. I know you're a history guy. Have you ever heard of this? And I sent him the Wikipedia page for the Black Tom explosion. The Black Tom explosion was, to me, a Mandela effect. It was a German terrorist attack on U.S. soil prior to World War One, and was something that got America into World War One, from what they say. So, in this attack, they blew up this munitions thing in New Jersey, and it was, it's New York Harbor, but the actual explosion of the munitions place was in New Jersey. But the explosion was so big, it blew out every window in Lower Manhattan, and it damaged the Statue of Liberty so badly that they had to close off the torch from visitors going in it. Even though I know people who had gone in, whatever, that's how these Mandela things work. So, that's kind of a big deal. I never heard of this until in recent years. But now, as with how the Mandela effect works, it's always been part of history. Whatever. So I sent him a link. I'm like, hey, yeah, I know you're a history guy. I'm like, you ever heard of this? And I left it at that. And I said, someday when you have time, just check it out. And I left it at that. And I don't know. I can't help it sometimes. Craig, my friend that he's been here recently. We did a video a couple weeks ago. He's the guy that I first got into all this stuff with, because we first started encountering demons in Chinatown. Didn't know what they were. We had to figure the whole thing out together. He asked his dad, because one of the buildings that got damaged, I forget the name of it, but it's a famous building in New Jersey that has like a clock tower with a big clock on it, and the clock was damaged. And I guess for whatever reason they never fixed it or something. He used to work in that building, so he asked him if he'd ever heard of the Black Tom attacks. It just sounds weird even talking about the Black Tom attacks. I remember when 3/11 was an inside job happened. They told us that was the first. That was a big talking point too. They're like, this is the first attack on mainland U.S. soil, because, of course we have Pearl Harbor up the street here. But that was a big deal. So now that's not true anymore. So take a little more luster off the 3/11 story. So, yeah. He said at first, he said he didn't know what he was talking about. And then at some point, I don't know if it was the second time he talked to him or later in the same conversation, I forget exactly how it went. Then he did know what he was talking about, and he did know about it. And he's like, oh yeah, this and that, and he was just explaining to him the situation. He wasn't there at the time, but he worked in the building in later years, So yeah, his dad knew. It's very possible. My dad, if he ever gets back to me on it, will say like, oh yeah, that's why we went to that's why the U.S. went into World War One. And now the thing is, when you have these kind of changes, right, where it was one of the inciting reasons for us to go into World War One, what does it change about World War One? I haven't looked, but a lot of times these changes have tertiary effects, but I'm calling them changes. But in this reality, they're not changes. They've always been like this. They're changes to me. However that works, I don't know. It's almost like someone mentioned this the other day, and how it's like different timelines. I was told a long time ago, someone was trying to explain to me, that the Mayan calendar thing, the Mayan calendar, which was ending in 2012, was supposed to be the end of the world. Everybody thought it was going to end the world, but didn't. Any of these end of the world date scenarios, it's never the end of the world. It's never happening. But they were saying what it did is it was the beginning of emerging, of the timelines merging, all the different timelines, that all the possibilities that exist in a quantum sense under the snow globe that we're in, you know? And a lot of what they were doing with the Project Looking Glass thing and later CERN was to try to, one of the things they're doing, because they don't do one thing just for one thing, was to try to get control of that. Try to figure out how to stop all the timelines from coalescing. Apparently. I was told this a long time ago, and I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. And then kind of forgot about it until someone brought it up the other day. Like, when they said, it's almost like all the alternate timelines are coming into one timeline. It's kind of what it feels like, you know? Like, versions of our world that were incrementally different. You know, there's just like one or two little things. It still doesn't, like, satisfy me as far as some of the Mandela effect changes that just are nonsensical. Like, why would they do that? Like, just an old favorite, the Jaws thing. Like, the joke doesn't work anymore with the new current way it is now. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like, especially in movie, like quotes and things, they no longer function as a joke or as a dramatic point, or because it's changed so much or just enough so that it doesn't mean the same thing anymore. Like, there's that. So, was there another alternate reality where the jokes didn't make sense? You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things. But yeah, I wasn't as anxiety-ridden talking to him today. Last time, like I said earlier, I did a video about it. I was so freaked out. I'm like, I hate talking to fucking people from, you know. And, I love these people. They're great. Old friends, family, whatever. But it's so hard to have, like, a normal conversation. Like, hey, what are you doing? What have you been up to? You know, and then you gotta just act. You know, you gotta, like, fucking, I can't tell them. You know, I don't know. You gotta keep that power level hidden. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday afternoon. Movie bus. Yeah, so that's it with that. I had to throw that out there. I had to throw him that little thing. Just see how he reacts to it. He might just be like, oh yeah. If he even gets back to me on it, because sometimes he doesn't really answer his text sometimes. But, I don't know, whatever. I always say not to do that, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to have him, you know, so. I'm always trying to get him not always. I don't talk to him that often, but when I do, I always kind of make a point to go and to red pill him a little bit about the death situation. I did that last time, kind of, like trying to get him to think about the fact that he may be 80, but his body is 80. He's actually a lot older. Trying to make him feel better. I don't know, it's hard. I mean, I think all of us have problems talking to our family or old friends, people that aren't in the same kind of world we're in. It's a different world, you know? It totally changes everything. And there is no going back. Like, you can't put that cat back in the toothpaste. You know what I mean? You can't put the toothpaste back in the bag. You made your bed, now eat it. You baked your cake, now sleep in it. You know what I mean? I think we all understand what I'm saying. Alright. That's it for now. You know where I'm going. Of course. Building number 333. I'll catch you guys later. God bless everybody. God bless and protect us all. And don't blame the teacher, blame the school.